Good afternoon, Americans. This is your favorite alien. Bubba is taking a well-deserved nap. So it's your favorite alien sitting in for Paul Harvey this afternoon. Stand by for commentary. Well, this is the second part of the commentary about the Beyond the U.S. Capitol. And part 2 is titled The Open Wound. I mentioned that a little bit in part 1. And the open wound that the United States has started in 1776, when the U.S. wrote its Declaration of Independence against Great Britain. That created the wound, a little scar at the time, because you had the majority of the people in the colonies wanted to remain English subjects, and the minority wanted to succeed from them. They were called different names. The British called them Whigs and Tories. The Whigs were the terrorists, the Americans, and the Tories were the loyalists, or the British subjects. The Americans used two other definitions. They called them patriots and loyalists. For the next 8 years, there was an uneasy relation between the two sides. A lot of killing, a lot of destruction that happened between the two sides in there. And when the Treaty of Paris came around in 1783, records are hard to determine, but the best estimates that you can find is that 100,000 loyalists left the United States. That's about 10% of the population at the time, of the white men's population, that is, along with some 8 to 10,000 slaves and another 6 to 7 to 8,000 free blacks left the United States in 1783. And according to your history, which you sugarcoat all the time, you said that, yeah, the others became American citizens. Well, really not. If you look at the history between 1783 and 1825, the Loyalists were still irked at the thought that they lost and they had to stay. The Patriots wanted to take away everything they could from the Loyalists. And boy, did they try between 1783 and 1803. Yeah, they tried. I mean, that was one of Washington's laments on his farewell address in 1797, that he couldn't stop the wound they had developed. And the wound became us versus them. And when the Loyalists that were here that were British died off in the 1820s and 30s and 40s, the us versus them still stayed, as political, as racial, as haves and have-nots, and it has stinged the United States ever since. And the wound got bigger. You fought a war over it. Never settled anything about the wound. You just kept on putting Band-Aid after Band-Aid on it. And here we are on January 9th, 2021. Mr. Paul Harvey would say, we've accomplished nothing.
Alright, you didn't give me this one, did you?
No,
But
what room are you in?
we are still
No, 'cause I don't
with the
normally work on
wound.
this floor.
It's gotten so bad that not a Band-Aid can reach it.
No, sir. What's your room number?
821, Hewitt.
So
821.
Hewitt.
what do we do about it?
John Hewitt, 828.
If I could ask Mr. Paul Harvey and he could be here, he would say it's probably without our reach now. President
No,
Biden
if it's-
has no idea about the
I'm working on
wound.
7 to 8, and those are the floors I get.
Neither does anybody in Congress.
No.
Because the us versus them has grown to factions within factions within factions and pigmentation issues,
That's okay.
political issues.
97.
There's a lot of us versus them.
What is it?
97.
You don't have a single
No.
Low temperature.
band-aid on this planet that could be put over this wound.
Any high temperatures lately?
So what do we do about it?
What do you call
It is up to you, Americans.
Of anything over 100.2.
Trump is a symptom
Yep.
of this wound. Mr. Paul Harvey would be enough to say that yes, he is a symptom. But what do we do about the dividing issues that makes us us versus them? The pigmentation issues, the political issues, the haves and the have-nots issues. And of course, the old lingering Tory versus Patriot. What do we do with those? Do you have any idea? I know President-elect Biden doesn't have an idea at all what he's dealing with. And the wound's going to get bigger under his administration. Is the wound so big that the United States is going to disintegrate? That is up to you. This is your favorite alien, Bubba Sleeping, sitting in for Paul Harvey this afternoon, asking you that question. Good day.